Today, we'll be examining two essential questions. The first question is, what is feudalism? The second one, how did this affect the lives of the people in the Middle Ages? Well, first of all, let's look at life in the Middle Ages. After the fall of the Roman Empire in 476, Western Europe was in shambles. There was no real leader. Charlemagne, who was king of the Franks, was able to defeat many tribes that were trying to rule Europe. He was able to unify much of Europe, partly through the spread of Christianity. Charlemagne died in 814, and Western Europe was again left in chaos. There was no strong rulers to provide peace and protection. Peace and stability were necessary for a civilization to advance and thrive. And with no central government and no stable form of protection for the people and property, people turned to feudalism. Feudalism is how society was governed. It was like a political system for the society. It was based on loyalty and duty. In the beginning, medieval Europe was divided into many kingdoms, and in most kingdoms, kings owned the land. Again, at the top you would have the king who owned most of the land, and he gave parts of the land to the nobles. Now the nobles were born into wealthy families. That was kind of like the patricians when we studied the Romans. Lords were high-ranking nobles who ruled the manor, and vassals were the low-ranking nobles who served the lord. He was rewarded by receiving land from the lord, and this land was called a fief. Next, you had knights. Many vassals were knights, and the knights were warriors on horseback who fought for their lords. They lived by a code of chivalry: to be brave, obey your lord, respect women of noble birth, honor the church, and help people in need. Now your lower group, or your last group in society, were your serfs, mostly peasants who protected the Lord, or were protected by the Lord, worked long hours, and gave the Lord a portion of their crops. Serfs could not own property or go to court. They could not leave or marry without permission. And if you think about it, it sounds like they were almost like slaves. They experienced violation of human rights and could be sold to another lord along with the land. So when you look at this society of feudalism, it was the political system, but it's very similar to the other societies we've studied, kind of in the triangular form, where you had the king at the top, then you had the nobles, then the knights, and finally the serfs.